Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Rikishi has predicted that an upcoming Roman Reigns feud could potentially end his WWE career. The wrestling legend stated that a feud between Jacob Fatu and Reigns needs to be so intense that it almost brings the latter's career to a halt. The original tribal chief is currently absent from WWE's programming following the Bloodline's heinous attack on him a few weeks back. The memorable angle perfectly laid the seeds for an eventual showdown between Roman and Solo Sikoa, who took away the former's tribal chief status during his absence following WrestleMania 40. However, many are also anticipating a clash between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu to materialize as part of the Bloodline saga. On his Fatu Off the Top podcast, Rikishi shared his thoughts on how WWE should approach this dream rivalry. He explained that Fatu needs to brutalize Reigns to an extent that he's forced to take a hiatus and undergo surgery before making a triumphant return to take him down. I think there will probably be a time when Jacob is ready because that angle between those two, Jacob and Roman Reigns, needs to come with an impact. What's special about that? Would it capture the audience? When Jacob does something to Roman, it should be something to take him back out. Like pretty much, I beat you up so bad, it almost ends your career. It should be an ambulance. Should be something like him going through surgery for whatever, said Rikishi. From 43:25, 44:20. Vince Russo doesn't think the Bloodline saga and Roman Reigns benefited WWE. On a recent edition of Sportskeeda's Legion of Raw, Russo bluntly stated that despite the Bloodline garnering acclaim, it wasn't enough to entice new viewers to the company's programming. He firmly believes that Roman Reigns and his faction's years-long saga could never take WWE's ratings to the next level. Let me tell you something, the Bloodline and Roman Reigns, that wasn't good enough for them to draw new viewers to the show. Roman and the Bloodline was not going to take it from 2 million to 3.6 million people. With SmackDown returning to USA Network next week, it could be the perfect stage to bring Reigns back by having him cost Solo Sikoa his title match against Cody Rhodes. Rikishi sat in the back of the dimly lit locker room, his massive frame draped in his signature black leather jacket. He had seen countless battles in his day, both within the ring and in the realm of family. But tonight, the air felt heavy. The silence of the room was interrupted only by the faint hum of the arena lights and the distant roar of the crowd. Roman Reigns was in the ring, still basking in his position as tribal chief, a title that Rikishi felt had corrupted his once honorable nephew. Enough is enough, Rikishi muttered under his breath. The Bloodline had been torn apart by Roman's iron-fisted rule. A dynasty that once stood for family unity had crumbled into a chaotic power struggle. Roman's obsession with power and dominance had shattered the family bond, and Rikishi knew something had to change. As he leaned back in his chair, memories of Roman as a young, hungry wrestler flashed through Rikishi's mind. He had been proud of his nephew, watching him rise to the top, but now, that pride had been replaced with disappointment. The Bloodline's dysfunction had reached a boiling point, and the only way to fix it was to bring Roman down, almost completely. A knock on the door interrupted Rikishi's thoughts. It was Jey Uso, looking conflicted but determined. His loyalty had been tested time and time again by his cousin, but tonight, his face reflected the toll Roman's reign had taken on him. Behind Jey stood another figure, taller, younger, and with a fire in his eyes, Solo Sikoa. "Uncle," Jey said, his voice heavy with uncertainty, "we need to talk." Rikishi motioned for the two men to come inside. Solo, at only 32 years old, was now the family's enforcer. But even his unwavering allegiance to Roman was being tested. His younger brother had been pulled into the chaos, and now Rikishi knew he was the key to ending Roman's tyranny. "I've been thinking, Jey," Rikishi started, his voice low but filled with intensity, "Roman's not going to stop. Not unless we make him." Jey's brow furrowed, and Solo shifted uncomfortably. Both men had seen Roman at his most ruthless, and the idea of turning on him in such a permanent way seemed unthinkable. But Rikishi wasn't suggesting a simple rebellion. This was deeper, something that could change the entire dynamic of their family forever. You want us to take Roman down? Solo asked, his voice carrying the weight of disbelief. Like, for real? Rikishi nodded. Almost take him out. End his reign, make him question everything. Break him down to where he's no longer the tribal chief. And you, Solo, you're the one who has to do it. Jay's eyes widened as he looked at his brother. Solo? Why him? Why now? Rikishi sighed, leaning forward. Because Roman trusts him more than anyone else. Because Solo is the one person Roman won't see coming. He's blinded by his own ego, and that's what we need to use against him. Solo clenched his fists, feeling the weight of Rikishi's words. His loyalty had always been to the family, but Roman had twisted that loyalty into something dark. He had followed Roman out of respect, but now he felt like he had become just another pawn in the bloodline's power game. The thought of betraying Roman, even for the greater good, churned in his gut. I don't know if I can do it, Solo admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. You can, Rikishi said firmly. You have to. Roman's lost sight of what it means to be family. It's not about being a king or a ruler. It's about trust, respect, and love. He's forgotten that. And if we let him keep going down this path, there won't be anything left of the bloodline. Jay leaned in, placing a hand on Solo's shoulder. We've already lost so much, Solo. Jimmy's gone, and Roman, he's not the same man he used to be. We need you, man. You're the only one who can get close enough to make this happen. Solo looked between his uncle and brother, the weight of the decision pressing on him. His entire life had been about proving himself, first to his family, then to the WWE universe. Now, the future of the bloodline rested on his shoulders. Rikishi's eyes softened as he saw the turmoil in Solo's face. This isn't about hate, Solo. This is about saving Roman from himself. We're not asking you to end his life, but you need to take him to a place where he has to rebuild. A place where he's no longer in control. Solo closed his eyes, the image of Roman raising the Universal Championship after another victory playing in his mind. He had admired his cousin for so long, but now that admiration had been tainted by Roman's manipulation and greed. If this was what it took to save the family, then he had to do it. I'll do it, Solo said finally, his voice steady and resolute. Rikishi nodded, his face filled with both pride and sadness. It's not going to be easy. Roman will fight back, and he'll fight hard. But you have something he doesn't, you have heart. You have what it takes to bring him down, not out of hatred, but out of love. Jay looked at his brother with a mix of relief and worry. We'll be there with you, Solo. You're not doing this alone. Solo took a deep breath, standing taller than he had before. This was more than just a match. This was the fight for the future of the family, the fight to restore what had been broken. As the three men stood together in silence, the distant roar of the crowd grew louder. Roman Reigns' match was reaching its climax, the crowd chanting his name as if he were an unstoppable force. But in the shadows, plans were being set in motion to break that force, to shatter the very foundation that Roman had built his empire on. And at the center of it all stood Solo Sikoa, the man chosen to almost end Roman Reigns' career, not out of vengeance, but out of a desperate need to save the bloodline.